let's go to the hotline. Let's go to the hotline, and let's talk to the coach of one of the most remarkable state champions in the state of Texas. We are joined by Coach Matt Rodgers of Waco Methodist Children's Home. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Excellent. How are things in beautiful Waco?
Things are great. It's an honor to be on with you. I never imagined the day.
Well, we're happy to have you on, and look, you guys did all the hard work, the TCAF state champions. But before we get into the team, I think there's a lot of people who may not necessarily be familiar with Waco Methodist Children's Home. You are a very unique situation. Can you kind of take folks through exactly what this school is?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Methodist Children's Home, it has been around since 1890. So 128 years here in the same spot in Waco. We're kind of over by Cameron Park, right off of Herring Avenue. Been around for 128 years. We serve probably about 6,000 people, both youth, family. You kind of name kind of across the board throughout the state of Texas and in New Mexico through a variety of services. But here in our Waco campus, we have our resident service probably has about 120 to 140 kids that'll live here, both here on our campus in Waco, and we have a boys ranch out in Axtell, so about 10 or 15 minutes outside of town, that they'll live here, go to school here. So kind of how they got here is a little bit different for each child. Some of our kids that are here because they really have nowhere else to go. And kind of what that looks like is a little bit different. Some of our boys and girls, for example, may never had a father figure in their life, and mom is in prison or mom is unable to take care of them, and so they end up here, and we help them through that process. Some of the kids we have here may have struggled with drugs, alcohol in their environment at home, and the home life isn't able to help them or aren't able to serve them, and so we kind of step in and help out in that area. So it's a pretty wide range, wide variety of kids. Some of the kids we have, a lot of them may be on probation, and so this is a place for them to come, go to school, kind of learn what life is about, but still have somebody that loves them, somebody that's caring for them, allows them to go to school, participate in athletics. So it's very different, very unique.
Yeah.
I probably talk about that for an hour by itself. But.
Yeah, you guys, that's one of the things that strikes you when you read about it is that this is, I believe, like a singular type institution in the state of Texas, where you guys are helping out kids who are in a bad way for one reason or another, who need help, and in a lot of, I think that. When people think of private schools, they think, oh, this is where you pay to go to send your kid to school. This is not the case there at Waco Methodist Children's Home. So I want to ask you about being the football coach at a school, a place like that. What are the unique challenges that you face? As a head football coach, you guys play 6-man ball, and what are the unique challenges that you face as a head coach at such a unique institution?
How much time do you have? At the end of the day, it's football. Kind of some of the unique challenges that we have is, a lot of our kids that come here, they're all coming from different backgrounds. Most of our kids have never played sports before. They may say they have, but they haven't. Their sports to them is playing maybe in the backyard or playing in the street with some friends. So that's one. If a kid that's at MCH was ever a part of a team, they probably weren't there long enough to make it to the games, just based on their home life and where they're coming from. So that's one. The average stay of our kids here is about 18 months. And so we have pretty good turnover from year to year as far as the boys that we have that play football. For example, going into next year, we'll if nobody else leaves MCH, we'll return about 30% of our kids. And so that's a struggle, each year kind of figuring out strategizing as to what we can do that'll help us be successful on the field and, who can play what position. It's not uncommon for us sometimes to have kids leave for good and for bad reasons. For example, we had 2015, we played in our state championship and lost, and we had a really good group of sophomores and juniors that were here, and we had 5 boys that left. One of them will graduate from Melissa this year, and he was first team all-district outside linebacker, was Melissa's punter, and I think he scored maybe 7 or 8 touchdowns as an inside receiver. But he was here at MCH for 3 years and left after his sophomore year. We had a young man that left here and went to Austin McCallum and was District Defensive Player of the Year in 2016. So lots of turnover. Trying to have 15 to 20 boys go in the right direction. Sometimes surviving practice is victory enough for us before we even get to games. So
I can certainly appreciate that. We're talking with Matt Rodgers, the head coach at Methodist Children's Home in Waco here on Texas Football Day. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. So then let me just ask a dumb question, Coach. There's all these challenges. There's all these unique things you have to deal with. Why coach there? Why is it important for you to be the head coach there?
I think probably a lot of what I do, kind of comes from where I came from growing up. I'm very fortunate to have two parents that love me and cared for me and, provide really anything and everything that I needed. I went to Baylor, and when I was at Baylor, I worked as a manager and then kind of as a GA for Scott Drew and the Baylor men's basketball team. And really so much of what I do, coaching-wise, coaching is a whole lot more than X's and O's on the field. So much of what I do probably comes from them and just the way that I saw Coach Drew and his staff really care about the guys that are part of the team, both on and off the court. So that's part of it, just to be an advocate for these boys, just speak into their life and hope that 5-10 years from now they're better because of it. Every day's a new day around here, so it keeps you on your toes. That's for sure. No day is ever the same, but it's very rewarding. It's nice that we won, but giving these kids the opportunity to go out and play and compete is great.
And let's talk a little bit about football, because you guys have won a lot in your 8-year history, or in the 8-year history of this program. You guys went to the title game in 2015, came up short.
Yes.
Went to the title game in 2016, came up short again, but then in 2017, the breakthrough, you guys beat Wiley Prep 72-56 to capture the TCAF Division I state championship. From your perspective, how rewarding was it? Not just obviously the things that you guys go through to just put a team on the field, but even just from the pure football standpoint of getting so close 2 previous years to finally get over the hump and grab that state championship.
Absolutely. When I hear people talk about us from, kind of from the outside perspective, people always think, MCH, they're good and they're really fast. And what they don't understand is we have, the uniforms are the same, the helmets are the same, but, the bodies inside are always revolving and are always different. And so I was, extremely excited for our guys that play, for MCH as a whole, and everybody that supports us just to win that championship. Our girls had won a basketball state championship back in 2010, but this was the first one since then. So extremely rewarding for that. I always think we're good, and I always think we are one of the best, if not the best teams that are in our league. But it's tough to win. It's tough to win in November, especially, and add everything else that we have going on here. It probably makes it even more tougher. But we had a great group of seniors. From that team in 2015 that lost, we had 3 boys that were still here now. And so I was really excited for those 3 boys, those 3 young men that'll graduate. We got rings, so everybody got a ring, had a big ring ceremony. So those are memories, and those are tangible things that they will take with them, as well as memories that they'll have with them throughout the rest of their life.
You guys play in a very, you mentioned you play in a tough league there in TCAF Division I, but you guys load up the non-district as well. You guys played Richland Springs in non-district. You played Waco Live Oak, which for folks who don't know is a fantastic 6-man program there in the Central Texas area. You play Oakwood in non-district. Why play those tough teams? Why not kind of line up the easy wins? What is it about playing those tough teams in non-district that appeals to you?
I'll always tell I'll tell my staff that I want to know why the kids are here. I want to know if you're here for yourself, or you're here to be a part of a team. And so I'll always tell our kids that nobody will remember what you do in August, nobody remembers what you do in September, but they will remember what you do in November. And so for me, in my time here, we'll always play a tough non-district schedule. We'll always play Live Oak. Live Oak is a stone's throw away from us, and I'm good friends with them over there. And in my time here, we split 3-3 with them. Played Richland Springs. We'll play Oakwood, like you said. We played Calvert before. We'll always scrimmage in Abbott. And so I want to know, when we get down, what are our kids going to do? Every year is basically kind of a new year for us. And so I don't know what our boys would do when they're down by 30 points or if they're up by 30 points. And so I want to kind of get our backs up against the wall just to kind of see what we do when we come out. We were fortunate this year I think we went 3-2 in non-district. Fortunately, our worst non-district record, I think, is 2-5. And I always tell myself, if we ever go 0-5, it'll be okay. We'll figure out a way. It'll be fine. The kids will still be on board. But we try to push ourselves definitely in the non-district. Yes, sir.
Well, let's look forward to 2018 now. I know, obviously, as we've kind of mentioned, it's a bit of a little bit more of a mystery as far as what your team is going to look like. But you guys are defending champs, but you're heading forward into 2018. Overall, give us a quick preview of what we're going to see from the Bulldogs in 2018.
Who knows? I did some numbers before when our season was over with, and if going into next year, we'll return roughly 20% of our offense just based on yards and points, and 11% of our defense just based on tackles and sacks, interceptions. And so it's kind of hard to know for sure. We do have we have two young men. We have a guy who will be a senior next year. His name is Reggie Williams. In our state championship game, he played every single play. He was our center. He played defensive end. He was on extra point block. He was our kicker for kickoff, and he was on kickoff return. So I think that hit it all. So he'll be somebody we rely heavily on. He's a great young man. He runs track, plays basketball, does it all. We had a new kid that came here as a freshman this past year, Kendrick Woodrow, and he's a beast on defense. His motor never stops, and he's partly one of the big reasons as to why we won a state championship. He goes, and when I kind of lose my brain, sometimes he's there to calm me down, and we kind of vice versa. When he does the same, I'm there for him. So those are some of the two main guys I'll rely heavily on, and we'll have lots of kids that have been here but may not have played big roles that'll step into it. And so I'm hoping winning a state championship will bring a few more boys out to play. That's the hope. But who knows? I always think we'll be competitive, and we will. It may not look pretty the first few weeks, but we'll get it figured out eventually and figure out what works best for us. I
don't want to give you too much advice, but I will say that maybe keep that ring shined so that when you walk through school, when people see it, there's like, oh, hey, I'd like to get one of those.
Absolutely, yeah. Put some pictures up throughout the locker room and throughout the gym. Yes, exactly. Definitely.
He is Matt Rodgers. He's the head coach at Methodist Children's Home in Waco, the TCAF Division I state champions. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations on a fantastic 2017. Best of luck in the offseason and down the road in 2018.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
There he goes, Matt Rodgers, head coach, Methodist Children's Home in Waco. And it is a singular program. There's not something like that where it's a lot of foster kids. It's a lot of kids who need them. And he mentioned it. He kind of mentioned it in passing that they live there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you talk about a remarkable coaching job to get kids who have so much going on in their lives and usually not in a good way, right? To get all of them pulling the rope in the same direction to win a state championship is really remarkable. To go to 3 straight state championship games is really impressive. Yeah. So we appreciate Coach Matt Rodgers from Methodist Children's Home hopping on with us.